What is it that you need to do to create a sustainable travel itinerary without burning out?
Yeah, so welcome to No Borders with Brian and Carrie. Today we are going to be discussing exactly that. You know, we've been traveling going on 3 years, and if we're being honest, we have still yet to totally figure out what's going to work best for us. But there's a lot of reasons behind that. It's not just because we can't figure it out, it's that our travel style has changed a lot.
Our travel style has changed a lot. Circumstances has changed our minds. Just the flow of the way we want to do things is changing. And as soon as we think we've got it figured out, a certain happening happens, and we just decide to pivot and go a different direction. We think this time we've got it figured out, though.
We do. We hope so. I think the first part of this is you really have to understand your travel style. We all have a different travel style, and like we said, ours has still changed. I mean, we are still seeing things change as we go on. I mean, even every 6 months, it's like, well, should we try this? Should we, so I don't think there's ever a right time to change things, or like, oh, nope, we can't change it because we've been doing it this way, or I don't know. We're open to those changes. We're open to making adjustments. And also, I think because sometimes something doesn't work for you or it doesn't work for me. And so finding balance between both of our styles.
Finding that balance, also finding the balance in interests. What are you interested in doing? What am I interested in doing? Fortunately, we have the same interests for the most part.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Now, there might be a time where there's something I want to do that she doesn't. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but we think we're enough on the same page to where it would be okay if I ran off and did that, or if she did this and the other one didn't tag along. It's not a big deal, but it's something that we're still trying to evolve into a perfect travel itinerary.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's even such a thing. We'd love to get closer.
Yeah.
But just when we think we've kind of found it and figured it out, I think that we still find ourselves adjusting. But I think another just kind of a key element of this is finding that balance, like we're talking about. You need to have the balance of not just constantly on the go sightseeing. There has to be that balance of having downtime, having relaxation, things that you just really enjoy that kind of get you back up to speed again, because the burnout thing is a real thing, and you really have to be mindful and aware of it for it not to happen. And the key is really allowing that extra time to just take time down.
Take time to be bored every once in a while. I think it's a key thing. You don't want to be bored at home. You don't want to be bored on a Saturday night. But sometimes it's okay to be bored on a Tuesday afternoon when you're in some foreign land someplace where you don't feel like you should be bored, but it's okay.
Well, and it's also okay on, say, a even Saturday night in a foreign land to not go out and to just be home and have dinner. And, so I do think there's finding that level of what we're okay with, what you're okay with for us, and compared to what might be fine with you is going to be very different.
Well, first of all, every Saturday night is Saturday night for us, for what we're doing.
Every night is Saturday
Every
night.
night.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. Every night is Saturday night. So that's the beauty of what we're doing. But you get our point. Kind of make sure you're not getting overwhelmed. So with that being said, it's okay to be bored. Don't overpack that schedule. Pace yourself, maybe plan 2 or 3 days worth of activities or excursions, and then take 4 or 5 days off, or vice versa that, if that's more your style.
Yeah, I think that is really key, is making sure, we'll sit there and we'll be like, okay, well, this week, what would we like to do?
Right.
Because I think that, first off, we don't want to go through an entire week and not have gone and done anything kind of special or cool, right? So, and it gives us something to look forward to, but it also makes us know that we have a couple things on the calendar, so there's not that overwhelming or that feeling of like, oh, we don't have anything we're going to do, It takes that, eases our mind a little bit, that we are seeing and exploring an area, but within reason.
Within reason, we are on a budget. My daughter, she tried to do a slow travel for a 3-month period with her fiance, and I think they made it about 6 weeks, 5 weeks, because they were going 100 miles an hour every day, and they ended up burning out.
Yeah.
And they came home early, which is fine. They figured out their travel style. They figured out their travel pace. They figured out they like being back home a lot more than they like being on the road. And that's okay too. You'll figure it out. But I would suggest, and I suggested to her at the time, she didn't listen. I get that sometimes. She should have paced herself and just slowed it down a little bit.
Well, and I think that this is also an age thing. We've also known other travelers who are go. They stay for 4 days in a location. They're on a flight going to a new location, and it works for them, you know? For us, I would be in the corner of the airport in fetal position crying. I mean, I could not do that 100%. I know that about myself.
I would not videotape that either. That would not be a
You'd
part
never see it.
of a video.
But you know, I think that's the thing, is that every person, and that isn't just a young person thing. There's plenty of people that are older that like the fast. They want to move quick. So this is a very much individual choice of what is going to work for you and finding that balance in your travels. The other thing you really want to be aware of is making sure to be very specific on picking those destinations. So pick them wisely, because you want to make sure that there's enough things to do in a location to keep you busy, but also enough things that maybe offer that downtime you're looking for, that walk in the park, that walking space, or whatever it is you enjoy doing.
Yeah, we do like that green space. We do like those walks. We enjoy the water, but we don't have to be on the water. Romania was one of our favorite countries, still is one of our favorite countries to explore. So the reason I think Romania was so much fun for us was because we could move from place to place, and there was a lot to see. Now that was a bit of a fast travel for us, which we don't do now, but if we were to go back to a place like Romania, there are plenty of cities, there are plenty of day trips we could take from a central location, and that's something that we look for now. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, I think that we have definitely arrived into locations where our stay there is very long because there's just nothing that necessarily, I don't know, appeals to us. And when I say appeal, there may be some things to go see and do, but that downtime is so important to us. The things that we really enjoy. So for instance, here where we are, we've kind of already seen everything.
Right.
We've done all the key things that you want to go and see and do. And now what we really look forward to doing each evening is, you know, we put in our day, we've worked and stuff, and then we go and we walk to the park, which is absolutely gorgeous, has beautiful walking trails all throughout this massive park.
And most importantly,
I knew he was going to mention that.
And most importantly, every afternoon, late afternoon, maybe 5:30, it's too thirsty, and they got a little pub sitting there, and we have a beer.
We found our favorite one. They actually have a few pubs in this park.
They've got a few pubs in the park. In the park.
So it's those, and people may laugh at that as that being but that is our activity. That's something we really like to kind of do, not every day, but quite often. And it is something that kind of for us is that downtime of a day.
We are going to do it today. As soon as we get done shooting this video, we're walking to the park. So when we plan out our week, we kind of gap it out. We have down days and we have busy days, and we kind of spread those out. That usually happens within the first week or two that we're in a new location, because we do kind of want to see everything right away. We're excited, but we always keep in mind, keep that gap day. Where we can just slow down. We used to arrive to location, and within the first week, taking into consideration we're in a place for a month, that first week we had seen all the main sites. And boy, those last 3 weeks can be really long. And so, you know, and on top of the fact that you wear yourselves out in that first week. So, you know, we now just are like, okay, this week, let's go see that. You know, and then we just find better balance in kind of having it scattered throughout the month. The other thing that we have really, you know, if you're so planned out, you also want to have that time to be spontaneous. You know, you want to be able to allow those days when you don't have anything planned, so that you can be like, hey, let's go do this today. Right, and that's kind of a big one too, because if you plan everything out and you've bought tickets for everything, but then you discover something else that you would rather do, well, it's too late. You've already bought tickets to that, or you're just going to lose that money so you can go do this. So make sure, especially if you're in a place for a month, to pace yourself, spread it out.
Now, accommodations for us is a really important one because it's where we spend, and we realized very quickly we spend like 80% of our time. You know, you're home a lot. You want to have the comforts of home. You know, we also have found that sometimes it's nice to treat ourselves to a place that comes with some amenities. You know, it might have a pool, it might have a gym, whatever, free breakfast.
Right, we try and balance those out. Now, this has been a hot topic for us lately, but moving forward, and really in the past too, we've tried to step our game up from month to month, maybe every third or fourth month. We might try and decide to get something a little bit better than what we're used to getting, just so we can have that comfort that we feel like there are times that we actually deserve it.
Yeah, you know, we're very budgeted. So we very much try and stay within a budget, but you know, like we're saying, every 3-4 months, you know, you get that place with a little bit nicer accommodations and those amenities that we very much look forward to when we haven't had them.
Okay, now fortunately, our travel style, the one that we both agree on, is to slow it down and take our time. That's staying in one location for a month. That brings our accommodation costs down, because when you do it for an extended period of time, you get a better rate.
Yeah, and I think that the one other reason, though, that this very much makes our style of travel something that works for us is because we have time to be in one location where we kind of can set that routine. We feel like it's home, as long as it's a really comfortable place.
Right.
You know, but you just have that time to figure out where the grocery store is. You're not having to work and think about every single thing. And I think that if you're moving all the time, I know for us, that is going to be wearing, and it's just not going to work long term for us.
Now, a surefire way to keep all this going, you've figured out your pace, you've figured out what you like, but you still need to stay healthy, because your health is your wealth. If you don't have that, you're not doing any of this. How do we stay in shape? We walk a lot. We walk all the time. We watch what we eat. You know, I haven't bought a bag of chips in like, I don't know, 4 months.
He's doing really great.
I'm doing really good.
He's kind of in no snack mode right now.
I'm in no snack
mode. He's doing really well.
But I've been in no snack mode. I can't say it, but I can do it for a while now.
Yeah,
and,
it's
you know,
going well.
It's something that you just kind of have to stay on top of.
You have to stay on top of it. And, you know, we do walk a lot, but we also do a lot of, we'll find workout videos online and we do those, you know, because you have to do a little bit more than just walking to stay in shape, especially because we're getting older. But you know, I think that eating healthy, not eating out all the time, making sure that you're cooking in, going to the local farmers markets. Yeah, I mean, if we were feeling crappy and, you know, we start to have medical problems, we're certainly not going to be able to sustain this kind of lifestyle. Now, next is your budget. We kind of touched on this before, if you want to make sure you have your budget, but this is one of those you really need to make sure it's a sustainable budget, something that you're going to constantly be revisiting. You know, we've had to make adjustments on our budget as, you know, if we look back to what our budget was at the beginning of our travels compared to what it is now, it has very much changed because everything has changed. I mean, prices have gone up everywhere. We started our travels in the very end of COVID. Prices were very low. Rentals were very low.
It was easy.
Yeah, so we've really had to adjust with that. So make sure you're really staying on top of that budget, making adjustments where they're needed, and that could be cutting way back, you know?
Well, I would say set a realistic budget. What do you think you're going to spend, and then go down from there? You know, because honestly, you know, you can't do everything. We don't do everything. We want to do more, but we don't, because we want to stay on that budget so we can sustain this for a long time. We can always come back.
Now, if you find yourself in a position where, say, your budget is, you know, prices have started to go up, you really don't have more money that you can put towards that budget, there are ways to make money on the road. We actually just recently did a video on that with a bunch of different options that you could look into. The great thing about a lot of these options are, it's not a 9 to 5, you're setting your own schedule, you're just working a little bit, and it might just be bringing in that couple $100s a month. That's why we started YouTube, really, you know, to just bring in a little extra money so that our travels would be a little less
stressful.
Exactly.
Make it a little bit easier, more comfortable. And, you know, it turns into a hobby, too. You actually end up enjoying doing it. And that's what a lot of these online money-making type jobs turn into. They're kind of fun, you know, so it's not something that, oh, I don't want to work, I'm retired. Well, we also want to sustain this for as long as possible. Now, some of that extra money you might be making could go into an emergency fund just in case something happens. You don't want to get yourself in a situation where you have to pay a bunch of money up front and go home because of it. You want to keep traveling. Make sure you have that fund set off to the side.
Have a cushion there because, you know, I mean, you just had recently your computer die and had to replace that. And I mean, that's not a massive expense, but it really is if you're not prepared for it, right? So just make sure and have that money put aside because it's going to make you feel a lot better knowing that it's not going to cut into your regular monthly budget. So we hope that the thing that you take away from this is that the key is you're going to find the travel pace and the style that works best for you. And also just give yourself that grace of knowing it's going to take you some time to fall into a pace that is going to work. There's a lot of trial error that's going to go on.
And as soon as you figure it out, it might change, and that's okay too.
All right, well, if you'd like to find us on other social networks, you can find us as well on Facebook and Instagram and on YouTube at Brian and Carrie. And then you can also find us on our website at brianandcarrietravels.com where we have some great free resources for you.
We would love to hear from you in the comments below. Give us your tips, your ideas. Tell us what you like. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. We'd love to have you a part of our community. We'll catch you next time.
Cheers.